amazing, isn't it, really, what you can do when you got a little tape?
Swamp Donkey Radio, Swamp Donkey Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, ham or gefilte fish. Welcome to the 4th episode of Swamp Donkey Radio. My name is Jan-Hen.
And I'm naughty.
Naughty, you sound really different today.
I had a sex change. What? Boy, testicles are weird.
This is Marius. If you've seen any other episode of SDLP or Swamp Donkey Let's Play on our channel, this is my counterpart. This is my Let's Play buddy. And since Nadia is away this week, we decided, no, let's get Marius in because he's actually quite a good candidate for talking about this week's subject. But before we get to that subject, I must warn you guys. Well, it's not going to apply to this, but there are spoilers in this podcast. When we don't rate anything that we talk about, we don't give it a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 10, whatever. We don't give it an A+, a C section. And there will be profanity in this episode.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Fuck knows. Fuck if I know, you know. But just to explain the podcast a bit, we basically talk about media. Anything that you guys can take in and experience and enjoy. Every week we pull something from our asses. No, our hat. And, then we just talk about it and review it. And,
just so you know, we wear ass hats, so.
Yeah. And we are ass hats too, you know.
So we pull it out of our ass and our hat.
Yeah. Which one came first, the chicken or the egg? The ass or the ass hat? Obviously the ass, you know, but where did the ass hat come from? Okay. How has your week in media been, Marius?
I'd rate it 5 out of 10.
But yeah, what have you been up to, media-wise? What have you been doing?
Media-wise, it's been comic books and Star Trek mostly.
Okay, Star Trek, the first generation?
Next Generation.
Next Generation, okay.
Yeah, we're nearly at the end. My girlfriend and I have started watching it in anticipation of the new series, so we actually want to watch everything.
Yeah, up
Star
until
Trek
that point.
Up until that point. And yeah, I've been enjoying it. I really like all the original series. I like the first one. I like Next Gen. Yeah, we're nearly at the end of Next Generation, which makes me sad. It makes me sad at the end of every freaking generation.
Yeah, because now, if that's done, what's the next one? It's the new series, isn't it?
The next one is Deep Space Nine. There's Deep Space Nine. And I think beyond, I don't know, I have a list somewhere.
Okay.
So that I can find all this stuff. But it's a mission. I mean,
and
it's a lot of stuff to watch.
And the other thing you mentioned.
Comics.
Yeah, comics. What comics have you been reading this week?
I've been reading the Captain America, the newest one.
The Hydra one, the controversial Hydra one.
Yeah, the controversial Hydra one. That's a pretty cool one, though.
No spoilers for that. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna run into that. But that's pretty interesting. I've been reading the new X-Men comics that are going on. And I'm also keeping up with the 2016 Deadpool, which is running into this year.
Oh, cool.
You know, it actually merges with Captain America.
Oh,
really? Yeah, where that series starts, the new Captain America comic book, that's like, they kind of do a crossover in this year's first issue for Deadpool, which is really cool.
We were actually talking about comics a bit earlier, and just like how, like, it is actually kind of cool how everything is like, this is a different universe, because in this universe, this character's dead, you know, and in this one, no, he's fine, you know, because there's some things that people hate, but then they can just always read the other universe stuff.
Yeah, kind of like Minecraft. It's like, if you don't like that block, don't fucking use it, you know? It's like, if you don't like the new Spider-Man, there is Spider-Man still ongoing.
Yeah.
In an alternate universe, technically. But Peter Parker still exists somewhere, so you can follow him. He's there.
Yeah, and my week has basically just been the same as every other episode, pretty much. It's Overwatch and Pokemon. That's just me. There's the international event coming up. Well, it's already happening. So I'm excited to get my Mega Stones and everything. And, I've got a team ready. So when this episode's out, I've already fought, but like, I'm psyched for it. And then Overwatch is Overwatch. I'm probably not going to stop playing that like anytime soon, you know. But, and then also, there's one thing you forgot to mention. We finally beat Mega Man. You'll see the finale. We're not going to say anything about it because it's going to be up on the channel. And we're not even going to talk about the next game because we don't know what it is.
I'll give you one hint. Exploits.
That's all you're fucking getting. But yeah, that's more or less how our week's been, media-wise. I haven't watched any series or anything. But yeah, okay, we're going to take a bit of a break, and then we're going to be talking about Pokemon trading card game. See you guys in a bit. Dear listeners, we are back. A Dinosaur Story. What was that movie? Never mind. There was a movie. I don't know.
What, that Disney movie? Was it Pixar?
No, it was...
DreamWorks?
No. It's like an old, like it's a 90s movie.
Oh, I was thinking about that new dinosaur movie, that CG one.
It's called Dinosaur.
Is it just called Dinosaur?
Yeah. Fucking stupid. But that's not the subject for this week. I'm going to put it in the hat, though, now that you reminded me. This week we're going to talk about something that's like very close to my heart and definitely Marius's heart as well. The Pokemon trading card game. Now we talked about the Pokemon games Sun and Moon in the first episode, but this is like a completely different ball game.
It's like comparing chutney and mayo here.
Yeah, both are delicious,
but different.
You wouldn't want them on your ice cream. Weird. Anyway, so we both have personal history with Pokemon trading card games, but I want to start from the very beginning. The very, very beginning.
In a galaxy far, far away.
No. Bring it forward, but just a little bit.
And then reverse a little, like...
Wind up, flip and button, reverse it. Missy Elliott. I don't know, I'm just throwing these references. I'm a reference man.
With a plan.
No, there's fuck all plans here. I just have little notes. Anyway, personal history with Pokemon. I already talked about in the first episode where the first thing I saw of Pokemon was the first Pokemon movies trailer and everything. Got super excited for it, and I remember picking out. I didn't even mention this in the first episode. My history with Pokemon trading card game. The first packet I got was from the base set, obviously, like the very, very first set. The first card I pulled, I was ecstatic because I chose Pokemon Blue. The first rare card I pulled was Blastoise. I was super fucking stoked about it. That was my introduction into the trading card game, and I fucking loved it. I loved it so much. I had no idea how to play it, but I fucking loved it, you know. I traded with my friends who had it. I came across a fuck ton of knockoffs, fake Pokemon cards.
I have a Gengar that it's essentially a card and a sticker. I used to sneak it in a sleeve so that it looks like it's on another card because it would fit perfectly over because the back was bullshit. So I stuck it over a normal card, and that Gengar was a basic first off, and it did 9999999 damage, and its HP was 99999.
It's like Game Shark or Game Genie for in physical form. It's this thing does infinite damage, dude. You're dead.
Yeah, you lose, and it requires no energy.
But you know you're a fucking cheater, you know. But yeah, and then I collected all the way up until the end of the second generation, which is Neo. Everything was Neo Destiny. Neo. It was the Johto League, or the Johto Pokemon. And then I stopped for a bit. And a few years later, I got a few Hoenn Pokemon cards from a friend who got it from overseas, and he didn't want it anymore. So I traded him, I think I traded him a PS1 game for it. But I just collected it for a while. Completely skipped Generation 4 when it came to Pokemon cards. And then at one stage, one of my best friends, Michael, we talked about playing Pokemon cards. We were super nostalgic about it. Started playing with the cards that I still have. I still have all my Pokemon cards, my old Pokemon cards. And then we were like, no, let's get the newer ones. So we imported 2 theme decks. And we were still in the mindset that theme decks are all you need to play. You know, it's like, wow, cool, you know. And then we imported Heart Gold, Soul Silver theme decks, the Espeon and the Umbreon ones. And then suddenly, out of the blue, we went to a store in one of the shopping malls close by us, and we were like, wow, they actually have Pokemon cards again. And it was black and white. And we were so fucking stoked about getting black and white cards. And then after playing a bit with that, we were like, well, we should start like building our own decks and stuff. So we bought a few more cards, started collecting the sets. And then we saw someone was actually there was a Pokemon League. And that was like fucking mind-blowing to me, because I never knew that South Africa had anything to do with Pokemon Leagues. I'm pretty sure there was one back in the day, maybe, but I don't think it made any, like, you know, I don't think it had any presence to it, because I had no fucking clue about it, and I was a Pokemon freak when I was a kid. Yeah, and that's more or less where I'm going to end my story now, because then we're going to talk about the Pokemon Leagues and everything. What's your personal history with Pokemon?
Well, for me, it started with the Game Boy games. I essentially had someone who put the emulator for the original Japanese versions on my mom's computer back in the day when I was still really small. I played the crap out of those games.
Yeah,
I couldn't even read them, and I beat both Red and Silver. Red and Silver, I played through both of them multiple times in Japanese.
Just to let you guys know, like, a bit of a history, like, we didn't have a lot of access to stuff like Game Boys. We did have access to Game Boys and stuff, but they were super expensive here. I was one of those lucky, like, little rich brats that actually had one, you know.
I didn't even know that it was on another thing. I thought, because I was small, I didn't put the emulator. I didn't even know what a fucking emulator was.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it was a PC game back then.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, a lot of people in South Africa have a history with Pokemon, but it was on their PCs, you know. And I think a lot of people around the world, some of their first games, like Pokemon games, were on PCs because, Game Boys and stuff were expensive, you know.
Yeah, because I think the first Game Boy I ever saw was a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
And, it happened, like, after that, then the movie came out. I went and got the movie, and then the cards were being sold in stores, and I bought as many as I could, which wasn't a lot. It was about, I think I got 2 starter decks, like 2
theme decks,
and then like maybe 2-3 booster packs total. That was about everything I ever got.
Do you remember which set it was?
I only remember the one I remember the best was I got a Lugia theme deck.
Oh, so it was Neo Destiny.
And that one was the cool one because it came with those steel coins. That was really cool. And, but my first one was the Machamp one.
Oh yeah, the starter deck that you can split in 2.
Yes, that was the first one I ever got. And at school I started playing and trading, and then I finally learned the Pokemon names in English because before I mean they were just pictures to me, and I could figure out I can get them to attack and stuff, and it was fun. And after that, then I kept trying to collect and stuff, and then it slowly faded, but I kept my interest in it, and, I was always a fan of Pokemon through all the years. Whenever I had an opportunity to see the shows and stuff, I kept up with it. And then eventually, years later, Black and White was sold in one of the gaming stores, and me and one of my friends started buying them, and we started just, like, every time we stopped by, we started buying.
This is the part where, like, it kind of, like, it started sounding similar.
Yeah, and then we were like, okay, well, we want to, like, we started trading each other, and then eventually we were like, well, we literally can't trade each other anymore. We want to be able to play against other people, because it was just me, my girlfriend, and my friend, and we were, like, 3 people, and we're like, no, we want to, like, be able to trade and play with everyone else, like, it would be cool. And then, for a while, we kind of fantasized, like, it would be so cool, there's got to be a place, and then eventually we decided we're just going to search, and we started Googling the crap out of it, and eventually, literally our area's name, Pokemon League.
Yeah.
And then
we live in Pretoria. We can say that,
And I was like, we were like, what the fuck? Yeah, but it took us like 3 months to actually go. Because we were like, this is so weird. Like, how can there be a Pokemon League? Like, we thought we were the only people who like it. We were the only people who bought those booster packs. Like, when we were buying them, we were like, yes, we want other people. Now we're like, but this cannot be real. It's too good to be true.
Yeah.
And that's eventually how we ended up going to the Pokemon League ourselves.
Yeah, and this is actually going to the next section, how we met. This is how me and Marius met. At the Pokemon League. I was already there for a few, those times where you guys were like still deciding to come, that's where we were already there, you know? And, I remember it was, the first time I saw you guys was at I believe it was a launch event, which was Dragons Exalted was
Yeah, I think so.
the set, I think. It was before Dragons Exalted. It was definitely before Dragons Exalted, because what we did was me and Michael, we imported a booster box, and we were like, this is a dream come true. And this was Dragons Exalted. It was before it came in South Africa. And we started building our decks and stuff, and we were already like a bit more into it, but I'll actually talk about that a bit later on. But we were starting to build decks and stuff, and that's when I met you guys for the first time. The first thing you talked to me about, and the first time you actually went to me, was I had built a deck with the new dragon cards, because that was the Dragons Exalted. Like before that, they didn't have any dragon types, and then they actually put dragon type, and I was busy testing the deck out, and you walked up to me, and you were just like, you know, this like dude with like all black goth, you know, like long hair. And the first thing, I did not expect that. And he was like, oh, cool, he has a Giratina in his deck. Whoa. And it was just like, okay. And then I was just like keeping quiet, because I'm socially awkward. And I was just like I look like a dick to most people when I don't talk to people, because I just have this like resting bitch face, you know. And he's just like, yeah, cool, he has a Giratina, oh cool, you know. It's like, oh fuck, man. And yeah, that's more or less how we met. And then we just started chatting, you know. We started like hanging out a bit more, talking about it. Found out he wasn't a Satanist. Yeah,
from then it was like just straight into like hanging out and building decks practically permanently.
Yeah, that was like our life. We were just like building decks, testing stuff out with each other, trading with each other. That was how we bonded.
We had so many video games at our disposal, but we were like, what deck are we going to build next?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, then we found that was our common interest. If there was something we disagreed upon, there was always just Pokemon to fall back on, you know. If there was any argument or whatever, fuck it, we still like playing Pokemon with each other, you know? Yeah, I don't know if there's anything like how you experienced how we met.
No, just to say, that was like the big thing. We really got it, like, I mean, it was a long time that we played, and I mean, we really enjoyed it. It was a great experience, I mean, for a long time. And we were all really passionate about it. We were a big group at that stage, and we really, like, when there was league, we would always be there.
Yeah, every Friday, go there.
Every weekend, we would spend that night after league, like, coming up with all sorts of fucking wacky ass
dude. Like,
decks.
we'd have, like, we'd pull all-nighters just working on decks.
Then my girlfriend's like passed out on the couch.
Yeah, and it's just us going like
all uncomfortably, and we're like, okay, but just one more tweak. And it's like, yeah, but I'm tired. Oh my God, I'll just lie here for a minute. And it's like 4 hours later. Okay, we're almost there. We've almost got this. Just a few more tweaks.
Yeah. Speaking about tweaks and stuff, we can actually talk about like deck building, you know, because okay, so this is what I was gonna talk about like earlier, but the first time we went to with me and my friend Michael and my girlfriend at the time, we were like, okay, cool, we've got the theme decks. We bought the theme decks now. So we're just going to play with this and tweak it a little bit. And then we tweaked a bit and whatever. And we were like, no, especially Mike. I'm throwing him under the bus for this, but I also kind of thought that. He was like, we can beat these guys. We can go to a tournament and win. Went to it, like, found out, okay, cool. Because the first experience we had with the Pokemon League, like me and Michael had, and my girlfriend at the time had, was we went to an event in Johannesburg. We went to an event there. The three of us came last because we had really shit theme decks and everyone else had EX cards. You know, they fucking steamrolled us.
Yeah, with that exact same, like, our mindset was we want to go there and trade and get to play the game. But when we realized people play with their EXs, we're like, are you crazy? The card's so nice, you're gonna fuck it up if you play with it. We're like, no, who cares about winning? You're gonna fuck up your EX.
Yeah.
Don't play with the EX, it's so nice and shiny.
Yeah, but then eventually me and Michael talked to our league leader, who was, I'm just going to say his name, not going to say his surname, because I don't know if he wants the anonymity or not, but Yaku is his name, and he's a fucking great guy.
Awesome dude.
Yeah, awesome dude. He was always keen on like building the community and like just helping out whoever needed help, and he was a great judge at tournaments and everything, you know.
Yeah, because like I do not cope well under pressure, and that guy really helps you make you feel like you're okay when you're starting to panic and stress, because some of those tournaments and stuff, it may sound ridiculous, but it's like you want to win.
Yeah.
And it's stressful as hell, because it's like you don't know if you're going to win. You want to do good, but you don't know, because I mean the other competitors that are up there as well also want to win, and they also worked really hard, so it's stressful. And he kept everything running really smoothly. Like he put like 200% into the league. Like, it was freaking fantastic guy.
Yeah. But about the decks and stuff, then later on you start realizing shit, but like the theme decks I have aren't good enough, and you have to kind of like trade cards, and you have to buy a shitload of booster packs and blister packs, and then eventually you find out it kind of works out cheaper if you just buy like a whole booster box or a blister box or whatever. And I mean, it's an expensive hobby. Let's like just throw it out there. It's an expensive hobby. It's one of my buddies actually like gave me. He plays Magic the Gathering, and he calls Magic the Gathering, that's his addiction when it comes to cards. And he said like, no, it's cardboard cocaine. It's like, yes, it's true. It's cardboard cocaine. It's your addiction, and you have to feed it. You're like, fuck, dude. I'm literally paying like hundreds of dollars, the equivalent of hundreds of dollars, like on like a bi-monthly basis for cards.
Yeah, it's pretty much you neglect any other activities. Like, you just don't eat out anymore. You just never buy yourself a good cool drink. You just throw the idea of luxury living down the toilet, and it's like, I have to get all these cards. I want to get this deck set up.
Yeah, and those cards, like, there's one card that like it eluded me and Marius for quite a while. It's
well, to this day it still eludes me.
Well, we're gonna talk about we're like the off podcast, but we'll talk about that. But Mewtwo EX was a card that neither me or Marius had. Both of us bought theme decks on separate occasions, or not theme decks, booster packs, booster boxes.
I didn't buy a booster box in one go.
Yeah.
But there was a toy store that we went to regularly, and they had 2 booster boxes. And over a period of 9 months,
we were the only people
who bought those.
Yeah.
And we bought out both booster boxes. But literally, then I'd do anything for some extra cash, and then try, and it's like, please, fucking one Mewtwo, because that thing was like. It was the meta. It was like you could not run a deck without it.
Yeah, he was the strongest card. No matter what deck you played, you can squeeze him in because the energy cards he used.
Yeah, the thing with him was like
you could throw him in any deck.
No matter because I never all the way through Pokemon trading card game. I never really liked EXs, but with him was like having him in your deck. Even if you don't want to use him as the main part of your strategy, drawing him at the start gives you such a solid start to just get things going while you're setting up your whole strategy. So even for decks that weren't EX centric, that weren't built around an EX, he was a great way to get that starting hand to be much better.
Yeah, and then eventually I pulled one, and Michael got one. And he eventually, because me and Michael collected together, like if we had cash, we'd like and we like put everything in one collection. So in the end, I have all the cards here. So he gave me the Mewtwo, but it's still both of our cards. If he ever needs it, I'm going to give it all to him. You know, it's like, yeah, sure, go for it. And we can talk a bit about the decks we played while we were there. The main decks I played with. Like, I played with lots of different decks, and I built lots of decks for Michael and for other people. Like, I helped other people build their decks. And my girlfriend at the time had a deck that was based on fighting Pokemon. And the deck I mainly played with, I had 2 main decks. The 2 main decks I had was a deck that's like the fandom calls Ray Eels, which is Rayquaza, EX, and Electric. And basically how it works is it recycles energies and stuff. I'm not going to go into full details because then this podcast is going to be...
It was fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it was a fucking cool... I love that deck so much. I placed third in a city championship that time, and I was so chuffed with that deck. I loved that deck so much. And the other deck I played with was... The community calls it Virgen. It's Virizion EX and Genesect EX, and they just had synergy with each other. That's all I'm gonna say. Like Virizion EX helps Genesect build up and destroy the rest, and I tweaked the living fuck out of that deck. And those were the two decks I mainly played with, and the Virizion Genesect deck actually got me the win at a city championship, and I actually have a little trophy to show it off. You know, and it was great fun. Love those decks. I still have those decks built, and they're put in a deck box. I'm never going to take them out unless I frame them all. You know, and what the decks you played with mainly? Like,
well, it was mainly my first like real big main deck that I was like because like I said, I avoided the EXs like the plague. I hated it because they were canon.
Yeah.
Like, this was the standard. Everyone did that. I hate that.
Not to insult you or anything, but it was kind of like that thing where it's like, everyone fucking does that, you know?
Yeah, but it was just annoying to me because I felt they were so overpowered and hard to get, and that's what I hated about them. Like, if it was one thing, if it was like, oh, everyone has an EX, then it's like, it's fine. But what bothered me so much is that there were people who could spend, like the adults, so they could spend much more than I could at that stage.
The people who had like really steady jobs and like they were like top in their
I mean, I was still studying at that point.
Yeah, you were still
a student. So I mean, my money was not huge. So getting an EX was not common for me. And when I did not have enough to build a deck around, and that's why I hated them, because I felt like they were unfair because I'm at a disadvantage because I couldn't build a deck like that. So then I went out of my way to avoid them completely.
Yeah. But luckily, when we started playing, I could like lend you cards and stuff.
Yeah,
and you could actually.
But
lend me cards.
At that point, though, I was even with you. I was like, no EX.
Yeah,
I don't want to do the EX thing. I don't want to lend them because they're too valuable.
Yeah.
First off, like I felt bad, but like if I had to lend one, then it's like, what if something happens? What if my fucking car gets in a crash and it breaks? It's like I'm so concerned because it's like they are rare.
Yeah.
You don't want to fuck up someone else's card, so it's like I'll borrow or trade cards, but I want cards for a deck that's EX free.
Yeah, I actually forgot to say that, but like, for example, that some of those EXs, like you said, they're fucking rare, and some of them are fucking expensive. Like at that time, the Mewtwo was about $40 to $50 online.
Fucking expensive, and then like we'd be competing against guys who have 4 in their deck.
Yeah, and those guys actually bought them.
Yeah, no, they bought them at that price, so it was hectic competition. And my first deck was a Flygon deck.
Oh, I love that deck so much.
That was for me such a love-hate relationship because I loved the mechanic behind it so much. I hated playing against everybody except Jan-Hen because he was the only person on this planet that wasn't salty about it. Because it's not necessarily, oh, it's a guaranteed win or it's so overpowered. That's not why people were salty. People were salty because the mechanic was very annoying on their side, essentially.
For those people who didn't know what this deck was, I'm just going to give a basic gist of it. What Flygon did was it dealt tiny damage on all the opponent's cards, and he had a Dusknoir in there, and that Dusknoir could like move that damage around.
So they'd constantly be sitting there having to move the damage counter to wherever, and it's also annoying because like they can see what I'm planning, they can't necessarily do something about it. Because like the one time my goal was literally to knock out 6 Pokemon, everything that's active. So I'm like stalling and packing on the damage and distributing it, and they know this is what I'm going for, but they're powerless to do anything.
So the whole process of going through that, it takes a while.
Yeah, it's very
frustrating. You need a patient opponent to like play it in a fun way, and you still enjoyed it, but like some people just got really fucking salty.
Yeah, even when they beat me, they're still like, you know.
Yeah, I had to waste my time with you.
Yeah, it's like such. It's like, but I enjoyed that. It had such a complicated mechanic, and that I really enjoyed. It's like I really had to think about it.
That was one of those decks that we like workshopped a lot, and that was one of those decks that we pulled all-nighters for.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic. And then the one after that was like my primo one. Like I just stuck to that thing like for the longest time. Because the Flygon essentially fell out of
some of the cards in that set fell out of circulation.
Yeah, we couldn't use them anymore. Yeah. So then I was like, I want to choose a new thing. And there was this thing like, was it Dragons Exalted that had the Garchomp in?
Yes.
When Dragons Exalted came out, everyone tried the Garchomp thing, but it was like 2-3 times that we were there and everyone gave up using it.
Yeah,
like,
just went straight to EXs again.
And then I was like, I like the fact that everyone gave up. I love the potential of this deck.
Yeah.
And then me and Jan-Hen sat and tested our decks, and he helped me build that, and I helped him with that Ray Eel deck, because the thing is, our decks were perfect to
fight against each other. Because it was matched 50-50. We were like rivals. Those decks were rivals. Basically.
Yeah, because they were both weak to each other, 100%. Like, both attackers are weak to each other. Yeah. Both have weak Pokemon stuck on the bench.
Yeah.
They both run the same mechanic, and they're weak against each other, and they're both about speed setup.
So the gist of that deck is Garchomp is the attacker, and Altaria sits at the back and powers Garchomp the fuck up.
But the whole thing was like his issue is like, if he starts with a Tynamo, it has like 30 HP.
Yeah.
If I start with a Swablu, 40 HP. So it's like this thing of like, we had to get our shit going fuck fast. Like, we had to get everything running. So nothing's better to do that than against another deck that does
it as well.
But yeah, we built on those things like
fantastic
crazy.
Matches.
Yeah, some really like amazing stuff, man. and we'd have to struggle. And then as soon as we do like 2-3 matches, and then whoever won 2 out of 3 helps the other person build the deck. So like, if we see, oh, you lost twice in a row, okay, no, we're fixing that deck. So it's like, no, I lost twice in a row, let's fix this deck. Oh no, you lost, okay, let's fix that deck. And we just kept tweaking. Like, we were so like persistent on those decks. It was amazing. No, it was fun. It was really great fun.
So yeah, we had so much fun, and even building other people's deck, like your girlfriend. Like,
yeah, she made nationals with that deck, and I mean, I built it. Like, I vaguely told her how it goes, and she made nationals with that thing. Yeah. So it's like,
and she actually, like, one of her crowning moments as well. Just to touch on that, like, there was this one guy. I'm not gonna say what his name is. He was basically one of the top guys always. He's one of those guys who had the money for the expensive cards. And he was very cocky. He was a very cocky guy. Like, in the beginning. At the end, he was kind of like realized that he was kind of being a dick to people. So he was like trying to be nice.
I think my friend Kyle helped out with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He kind of took him down a notch.
But yeah, your girlfriend actually beat him once, and he was so salty about it.
Yeah, because it was at a big contest.
Yes, he was so salty. And the thing about your girlfriend is she takes her time.
Yeah, that's what made it so good. Is like, I didn't have to go and sit and practice her. She didn't practice with that deck as much as we practiced with ours. But I tell her the concept and stuff, and she'd vaguely understand. And then she'd be like, okay, but I'll while she's doing, she's kind of winging it, but she takes her time, and she'll be like, okay, cool. So this is kind of the mechanic. She considers everything. She considers it, and then she figures it out as she goes. But she'd always be patient with her choices. And this guy was one of those guys, like, even against me with the speed setup deck, he'd be like, come on. Like, if you take more than 5 seconds for a decision, he's like, come on. Yeah, because I mean, the day that she, like, it was a competition, and I think she also won some prizes on that day. Yeah. And he was so sour, like, just that look of like, yeah, she did it. Yeah, she did it. I remember, like, because it also, like we said, it took him a while to warm up to kind of like, it is still friendly and that kind of thing. Yeah, at that stage it was kind of like very satisfying when he was like,
to beat the bully.
Yeah, to beat the bully, and it was her, you know, she's so tiny and so sweet and everything, and then she comes here with this kick-ass deck.
So yeah, just to touch on that again, because we talked about it a bit earlier, but the community, like the good and the bad of the community. We'll start with the good, obviously, you know. But that's just like that.
No, start with the bad. I say start with the bad, so that we can end on a sweeter note with the people.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. There were some people, like there were people, and it's not that one guy alone. There were other people who were.
There were quite a few bullies,
or actually worse than him.
Yeah, like, there were a lot of guys actually worse than him in the end.
Especially, like, I'm not going to say from which region, but players from another region in South Africa were actually like very, very competitive.
Yeah, because like the main guy we're talking about, he was kind of a prick, but like he wasn't aware he was being a prick.
Exactly.
As much as there were some other guys that were genuinely bullies.
Yeah, and they were skeevy as well. Super skeevy. They'd be like one of those people who go like, they put that card down, and then they like when you just have your folder open, you know, you want to trade and whatever, and he puts his card down, he swipes that card out of your folder, and he's like, yeah, no, we're going to trade, right? We're going to trade, right? We're going to trade, right? And it's like, no, you know, if it was a weaker, it's like socially fucked person, that person wouldn't know what the fuck to do and go like, fine, you know, whatever. That's probably what they were doing. You know?
Yeah, which is really uncool because it's taking advantage of some of the people. I mean, obviously you can imagine. I mean, it is a nerdy thing. It's a very nerdy thing. So there are some guys who are or guys and girls who are very socially awkward. And just like Pokemon, they're coming there, but they're shy and they're gentle and stuff. And you know, these guys did not have respect for that.
There was even a small grouping of people who had disabilities in there, and we were the type of people who were like, okay, cool, we understand this person has a disability. I'm not gonna treat this person you know, I'm not gonna expect the same from a person who doesn't have a disability. You know, so be patient with those people. You know, we were we have a community where we can make friends with people. I'm gonna be accepting towards everyone, but if they're gonna be dicks to me, fuck them, you know. But we're the type of people who we would have been fine hanging out with everyone there.
Yeah.
But if they were going to be dicks to us, we're going to avoid those people.
Yeah, that's also ultimately part of why we left, was because at the end those guys became quite prominent, and it makes the atmosphere very unpleasant.
Those people, the people from that other region started influencing our region, and those people started becoming very competitive and actually.
I wonder sometimes if it isn't us that also had a huge influence on the competitive standard of the league, because when we as a group started really training hard and really working like that, we were on top for the majority. I sometimes wonder, and I feel bad because I wouldn't want that, but I wondered if our competitiveness caused other people to want to be more competitive, because I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
I mean, it's 50-50. You can't necessarily blame us for being competitive, but at least we weren't influencing the competitive vibe where it was mean.
Yeah, we were never mean. We were always try to be really
we were never as far as I know, we were never trying to be dicks, or
we were always trying to be good sportsmen, because the thing is that's the one thing is we were all really aware that some of the people there are quite gentle and shy and socially awkward people, so we really tried to make people feel comfortable, especially when they were at that stage when we were really on top for quite a while. Then we were trying to be wow, but you did great, or you know, and during the times where we weren't competing, helping other people with decks and that kind of things, and that was nice. But there were, I think in the late there were about 3 or 4 people who joined late, who kind of bullied the rest out.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I'm not going to name names, but one of those guys was actually chased out of one of the tournaments, the national tournaments. I'm not going to name names, but that was very satisfying, seeing him being treated exactly like he treats other people, and just the judges going, no, you are they didn't say this, but you're being a fuckwit. Out. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it got bad. I mean, I was a top cut at one of the nationals, and the guy, when I beat him, he got so aggressive that literally he threw a table over, and the judges were holding him back.
Yeah.
And I was just awestruck. I couldn't believe myself. I stood there with this blank expression on my face, is this reality? We're playing fucking Pokemon right now.
We're playing a game. It's still a game, dude. You know,
yeah, because I get nervous in that stuff, but I mean, sheesh, don't get angry at someone else for working hard.
Yeah, someone for beating you at a game.
I mean, the fact of the matter was, that was my Garchomp deck that I worked for nearly 2 years on at that point. Exactly. And I mean, it was a non-EX deck. It was a fucking surprise. It had everybody talking. It was a really cool thing. And I was proud of it. And then to be so nasty because I won, it's really... That's the point where we really started feeling the atmosphere is not good.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually going to say earlier, is there were two... I heard this later on, after I didn't quit immediately. I stopped coming regularly. So it was just work and everything, and other people weren't keen to come with me anymore, and you couldn't always make it anymore, and you were also not feeling the vibe anymore. Not to say it's your fault or anything, but it's if no one else from my friend, my group of friends are coming, and all the people I have left are mostly the dickhead players.
Yeah, because that was the problem for us as well, because it was a stage where Jan-Hen was gone for quite a while, and then we were there without him. Yeah, most of the friend group and stuff, life got in the way for everybody, and then we started feeling alone, and we're it's becoming an inconvenience to go. And then when we finally decided, let's just leave it, then he came back for a while again.
I came back for a while, because I think at that time I was touring, maybe, or something along those lines, with the band and everything. But yeah, that's actually that's more or less why we quit. The community was just not like it was
Yeah,
too
the bullies.
aggressive.
The bullies
Yeah.
pushed out a lot of guys.
Yeah, and some of them actually like kind of ganged up on them and said like, "No, you're going to throw this." This is actually something I heard later on, and it turned out to be true. I'll tell
It's
you
those,
who it is.
I'm
I'll tell you
assuming
who
it's
it is.
those people that came there at the end.
No, it wasn't. It was people
Really?
who like some of those people came in afterwards. But I'm not
Oh,
gonna.
after I was gone.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Oh, okay.
There was one person who you'll know who it is, but I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna name names at all.
Yeah,
Just-
no, we don't want to be like fucking snitches bitching about stuff.
But just to let you guys know, the leagues have gotten a bit better. As far as I've heard from other people, the leagues have got a bit better. But this is also just the perspective of one league, and I'm not saying this is how the Pokemon trading card game league is now.
Yeah, because remember our league was fuck small. Like it was
Yeah.
20 people. So
Yeah, so this isn't like we're not trying to knock them, because I'll be honest, if we still had the money to do it, we would still go. We would try it again. We'd
because
go
that
back.
was probably the biggest factor. Besides that was like it was the fact that we weren't catching each other there very often, and the other big thing was it was way too expensive. It's incredibly expensive.
Yeah, every 2 months a new set comes out practically.
Because when we started, it was every 6 months a set because we got it delayed, which was
Yeah.
great for us, which means we had a lot of time. And on top of that, now the sets are coming practically bi-monthly, and on top of that, the pulls are worse.
Yeah, I have to say the sets have slowed down a bit, but I'm not saying like no, we should But yeah, but let's end it on a good note and say like what the good was about the community.
Yeah, because there were some really awesome people there. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, let's bitch about the bad stuff and say that is the shit stuff. But man, there was some good people. I mean, when it comes to judges and league leaders and stuff, we had like the support system there. They really worked hard to look after their people.
I'd say we had three of people who were regularly judges. Three
Yeah.
people who were awesome people. Just awesome people who like put their hand in to run the league. And I'll actually name their names because I feel like if they ever listen to this and they hear their names, that I just want them to know fucking thanks for being awesome people. It's Yaku, from my experience, it's Yaku, Bianca, and Armand.
Yeah.
I love them. They were great. They were always helpful. They always Armand actually helped a lot with the VGC stuff, the video game stuff as well.
Yeah, actually, like one of my favorite games for the 3DS, Monster Hunter, he gave me his free download code for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, great guy. I mean, that guy was fantastic. Bianca was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yaku, fantastic. Like, you cannot have, like, when it comes to people running any form of gaming type or sporting or anything like that, those are the type of people you want there running
great.
the show.
They were such kind-hearted people, and they were honest with you about stuff. Like if they said no, this deck's not going to work and stuff, here's why, and then they'd talk through about it. They'd give you a reason why, and then you could argue with them about it, and they'd go like, okay, cool, we'll try it. That just a small example, but like they were helpful.
Yeah, because often you'd read a description for an attack and you'd be like, I have no fucking idea. Like, under 60 seconds, you'll understand exactly. Like, they know their rules so well that it's like, just like that, and you know what they mean, what it's supposed to be, and it's like, okay, awesome. Now, that piece of information it'll guide you to create the deck you want, because you'll either, in that 60 seconds, know, yes, this is going to work, or, nope, shit, that's not going to do what I want it to do.
And also, like, there were some great people, like, in the community that weren't just the leaders. There were people that, like, we also pulled all-nighters with, like Kyle and Michael, and we had a guy with us. He was also a good friend of ours that time. We all, like, had those things where we were just, like, sitting and building decks and
I mean,
stuff.
Kyle's still friends with one of the guys at the league. I mean, Kyle doesn't go anymore, but I mean, he still goes and visits him all the time. They hang out and watch anime.
And that's the great thing about that community, was we made friends. I met one of my best friends there. I met you there. And that's just how great something like that can be.
I mean, we're literally, like, our whole friend group started, our whole huge friendship started with that league.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, you can meet, like, some of your best friends at stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, our entire group right now is, like, mostly as a result of the league.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing.
Fans.
To think that, like, just two people coincidentally ending up there. Well, two groups of people technically. And then, like, just everything from then. I mean, we've been friends ever since, and it's been how many? Quite a few years
Yeah,
now.
it's been a few years now. I think we met in 2013, I think.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so it's 2017 now, so fuck me.
Yeah, so I mean, the kind of benefits from going there, especially if you can afford the collection, is a lot. I mean, the game is really fun. I mean, it's an extremely fun game, but I mean, it's best played with friends. You want to be in a group of friends where you guys can do this after the league
collect
and stuff.
together as well.
Collect together, collecting is fun, trading is fun.
If you already have like a best friend who also likes Pokemon, try and start a collection with them. But don't be stingy about cards. Like, talk it through, talk stuff through. Like, if you only have this one rare card and you both want to use it, try and work something around it. Don't be dicks at with each other about it, because you guys are both
it's kind of like, I was collecting with my girlfriend, but Kyle, I mean, he couldn't collect nearly as much as we could. So pretty much everything, he could go through my cards and build a deck with what he wanted to. It was fun. I didn't mind, because I mean, I knew he's not the type of person who wouldn't give things back, and besides that, I knew if he does lose interest, he's probably going to say take it all, and that's what he did in the end. But I mean, he's not obsessed with that kind of stuff. So if you're like, okay, but let's collect together, everyone has their own interest. I mean, my girlfriend her deck was Keldeo all the way, Keldeo and Blastoise.
Yeah.
That Russian thing was awesome, man.
Such a cool deck. Fuck me. I just love those decks, dude.
Yeah, I know. We've still got our cards, our decks. Is like, she's got a Keldeo deck box with her Keldeo deck, and I've got a Garchomp deck box with my Garchomp deck. It's awesome. No, like the fun you can have there, especially with a big group of friends, man. And you can make a big group of friends there. That's another amazing thing, is you can make that group of friends.
If this sounds appealing to you, like, just check on like the Pokemon website, Pokemon.com. You can actually find out. You can search and find out if there's a league close by you. If you want to do it, just find out. Because here's the thing: if you're not that interested in the Pokemon trading card game, but you're interested in the video game, they also have a league for that. Like, it's the same league. They also have a championship for that and everything.
And once again, then with trading, breeding, all that kind of stuff, there's a great social element to doing that with your friends.
Yes.
I mean, the league can, and I mean, in South Africa, we're not as lucky as many of the other countries. I mean, a lot of countries have very many leagues.
Hundreds. In America and everything. Like, hundreds.
Yeah, here, it's like,
I think we have
our population's been between like 15 and 25-ish, maybe tops 30 at a stage, fluctuating around there. Like, we've never been able to get a big draw because it's not that contemporary here. They don't even sell the cards here anymore.
At most stores they don't sell it anymore.
I think the guys at the league have their own source for it, like Anime Works and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So, would you recommend it?
Yeah, I think I would. I would say, like, if you're like alone and you like Pokemon and you're like, I want to meet some new people, I want to socialize, it would be great for that. If you have a group of friends that are interested in it, then it's also great, because you're also, either way, if you want to make friends or socialize a bit and you like stuff like Pokemon or trading card games, like, even if you're a Magic fan, you could do this as well.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially if you don't want to go competitive as well, or if you just want to do the VGC, it's a great way to just meet like other people who like games. Because I mean, a lot of the guys there, they're gamers. They're just people who like
games, like Nintendo games, or like every other types of game as well.
I mean, Yaku was like,
he had an Xbox One.
And it was a huge Nintendo fan as well.
Nintendo fan.
Was good at Nintendo games, so it's like, it's not a thing of, you think Pokemon League, there's one demographic. No, there's people from all walks.
Yeah, exactly. Find that person in that league,
I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, some of the guys are sporty guys.
Yeah.
There were guys there that were like real, they play cricket.
In high school, you'd think they were quote unquote jocks.
Yeah, it's like, there were people who were sporty guys, there were people who were computer nerds, there were people who were artists, there was people from all walks. And I mean, that was just a group of like 20-something people. So imagine if you have a league with 100 people in it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of potential. So if that sounds interesting, why not just give it a shot?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Marius just said. The only thing I want you to take into consideration with the Pokemon trading card game is, if you already have expensive hobbies, this might be hard to get into if you want to go competitive, because these cards are expensive. Like, no matter which country you're from, these cards it is a hobby that you're gonna have to fork out cash for.
Yeah, so if you're still interested and you don't want to fork out a lot of cash, if you own a 3DS, that's a much more cost-effective route for you to go.
But would I recommend the Pokemon trading card game? Yes, it's a lot of fun.
It is really a great deal of fun.
If I get to a point where I can start collecting it again, like without without only eating bread and water, I'd go for it in a heartbeat. I'd just jump into it again because I fucking love that. But
and the collections are beautiful and the cards are beautiful.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just a bit too much for us now.
Yeah, maybe if one day they decide to, if they ever decide to, they bring out, you pay a certain amount, but you get an entire set of each generation, like each new set comes in a set thing. It's got enough cards to build any combination of decks.
And it's a tiny bit expensive, but
it's expensive, but it's once off, and I know for 2 months, everything in here I can build any possibility. Then I'd be willing to do it. But the problem, the gamble element to it, because it is technically selling gambling to kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's kid gambling.
Like blind box stuff and like booster packs and stuff. That's just how it is. That's like it's like buying loot boxes on Overwatch or buying blind box figures or gosh.
Interestingly enough, there's a lot of people who are working hard to make that illegal, loot boxes and stuff, because it is like, by basic definition, it's gambling for children.
Yeah.
It's still like putting a slot machine and doing it. You may not get a cash payout.
I get what you mean, but I actually want this to be an episode. That discussion, because it is an interesting discussion.
It is an interesting topic.
Yeah, but I want to talk about it in another episode.
Okay.
I promise I'll put it in the hat.
Okay, put it in the hat, man.
But yeah.
In the hat, man.
So yeah, those are our thoughts. This is kind of a long podcast, but I feel it's kind of worth it because this is something that me and Marius met each other with. This is something we both love. So sorry for the long podcast, or you're welcome for the long podcast, depending on which person you are.
Yeah, and Pokemon is awesome in a lot of ways.
Awesome. Yeah.
From trading card to VGC to shows to movies.
Yeah, if you just watch the show, good on you,
Yeah, I mean, the new show, you must say it's pretty good.
Oh, Sun and Moon's great. The anime is great. I'm not going to say anything else, but it's fucking great. Even in Japanese, it's great.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, so we've reached the end of our show, and as is tradition on this show, we're going to draw out of the magical mystery hat. Try it.
Your ass hat.
Yeah, my ass hat. And because Marius is our special guest on the show, he's going to pull what me and Nadia are going to be viewing, the media we're going to be viewing. You can hear the crinkly crackling of the random thingies. So, Marius will be drawing out of the hat now.
Free hat, free hat, free hat.
And next week's episode is...
podcasts.
Oh. So next week's episode is going to be all about podcasts in general. Podcasting in general.
A podcast about podcasts.
Yes. It exists. There's podcasts about exercise, for fuck's sakes.
Okay, cool beans.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for joining me on this very special episode. Thank you, Marius, for joining me on this very special episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this podcast. We're definitely going to have Marius back on sometime.
Plus, we're going to be doing games on the channel, and eventually live action. We're going to be doing some more animation. We're going to be doing everything.
Yeah, we're going to. My goal for this year is to finish up, do a sequel to one of our cartoons. Actually, I'm super keen on doing that. But there's a lot more stuff to come for the channel.
A lot.
And we're super stoked to show you guys what we're planning. But yeah, I think that's about it. There's only... Oh yeah, I actually wanted to ask you, since you're our guest, would you recommend something to the audience?
Play Brütal Legend. It's awesome, and there should have been a sequel, and I'm sad that there isn't. I love that game. It's a PS3 game.
And it's on Xbox 360 as well.
And it's on Xbox 360. It's Jack Black is the voice actor for the main... Yeah, for the main character, Eddie Riggs.
If you love metal.
Ozzy Osbourne is in there. Yeah. It's like a Legends of Metal game. Like, even if you just like rock, like, the thing is, in that game, you can literally choose your playlist. Yeah. So, pick what you like. If you like classic rock, if you like the new metal, if you like thrash metal, whatever the hell you like, it's in there, and the world is amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not going to give you guys a challenge this week, but if there's a challenge I can give... You know what? I changed my mind. There's a challenge I want you guys to do.
The fart thing.
No, but you can give that challenge if you want.
I like the 4 challenge. Okay, let me just lay it out for you. Lay it down. My challenge is, if the world's line and everything just ends up perfectly, no matter where you are, if you're in a situation where you have to fart and someone you really dislike is within range, just let it rip. Just like throw it down all the way. I mean, come on, you're gonna feel good about it. Like if you can aim that guy in that, like if you can aim the direction and stuff, it'll be fantastic. You'll feel so good about, like, yo, maybe embarrassing stuff, but you know you farted near that guy and he sucks. It's my enemy bath challenge.
My challenge is, since we were talking about Pokemon trading card game, on the Pokemon website, there is actually an application that you can download either on, I believe it's on the iStore as well, and or the App Store on your iPad or on your PC. You can download the official Pokemon trading card game online, and they give you some decks to practice with. And try it out on there. It's an easy way to learn the rules, and you can actually trade on there. And if you actually buy the booster packs, if you go further than that and like buying the booster packs, you actually get online codes to get booster packs online. So try it out. If that's not for you, then you know, okay, cool, it's not for me.
And it's free, so what's the harm?
It's absolutely free. That's why I'm giving it a challenge, giving you guys a challenge to just try
My challenge is also free, by the way.
Well,
and it's freeing.
It costs you a bit of gas. But with that, guys, thank you so much for listening. And if you like this podcast, please give it a like. Please give us a, just click that subscribe button if you enjoyed this. Give us some love. Give us some love. Consensual.
Bye.
Bye-bye.